Right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties. No.
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. He wants to hang out with you next week, and I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f*** you.
Terrence Howard worked on my first film, Get Rich or Die Trying with me. He's a good friend of mine.
This is real life that we're talking about. We're not talking about dingleberries and applesauce. Yeah, real life.
That's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that.
Just when it felt like the Diddy madness had already hit its peak, boom, 50 Cent slides in and throws down a wild claim. He might have actually saved Terrence Howard from getting caught up in one of Diddy's freaky setups. And it doesn't stop there. Terrence is finally speaking out, and he's not sugarcoating anything. He's coming for every Hollywood dude who stayed quiet and didn't have the guts to say no to Diddy.
Do all those things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy party.
According to Terrence, a bunch of these so-called power players gave up all their dignity at those now notorious FO parties. He says he barely escaped that scene himself. Barely. And here's where it gets even wilder. Word on the street is Diddy actually reached out to Terrence to join his new docuseries. Yeah, seriously. And the rumors are flying that instead of signing up for the show, Terrence might actually be teaming up with 50 Cent to expose it all. The shady invites, the backdoor deals, the powerful names pulling strings behind the scenes. Nothing's safe.
I'm always right. It's like when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm still right because I could have been wrong.
Now the big question is, who actually said yes to Diddy? Because the names being whispered right now, huge. Names that everybody knows. And guess what? 50 Cent is making it sound like there are actual receipts. Real footage, real confessions, and drama so raw it could shake the industry to its core. If this doc really drops the way they're hinting, we might be looking at one of the biggest takedowns Hollywood has ever seen.
That was all the people that went to the Puffy party. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
So what really happened when Diddy tried to pull Terrence Howard into the chaos? Because if Terrence's story is just the tip of the iceberg, this whole thing might be about to explode. Terrence Howard just dropped some serious bombshells on the PBD podcast, and it's messier than anyone expected. He spilled that a bunch of celebs actually gave up their pride just to hold on to fame, and he said that same twisted energy? He saw it firsthand at Diddy's parties. But he didn't stop there. Terrence doubled down and said plain and clear, what went down at those Diddy events? It was next level disturbing. So when Patrick Bet-David threw out names like Justin Bieber during the interview, hinting they might have gotten swept up in that chaos, Terrence didn't even blink. He straight up agreed. He said, you can see the trauma written all over some of these celebs' faces, like they're still haunted by whatever went on behind those locked doors. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Terrence hit us with another twist. Diddy actually tried to come for him. According to Terrence, it started out low-key. Diddy slid in all casual, pretending he just needed some help learning how to act. But out of nowhere, he switched it up and started getting real interested in Terrence's music. That's when Terrence's assistant jumped in and told him flat out, something's off. And they were right. Because Terrence didn't just throw shade at Diddy, he called out an entire wave of powerful producers who tried to run the same shady game on him. He didn't drop names yet, but he made one thing crystal clear. Diddy ain't the only one. There's a whole group behind this vibe, and Terrence is finally done staying quiet.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's...
Terrence Howard just pulled back the curtain on what he calls a whole system. And it's no joke. The reason he hasn't been headlining every Hollywood blockbuster? According to him, it's simple. He refused to play the game. Word for word, Terrence said he lost out on major movie deals because he wouldn't bend over. Not literally, not even metaphorically. He stood on his principles, but the cost was heavy. And when this interview hit the internet, social media erupted. People were stunned that Terrence actually said all this out loud. Most celebs are out here pretending they've never even crossed paths with Diddy, let alone been involved in anything sketchy. Only a bold few, like 50 Cent and Cat Williams, have dared to call it out.
You see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
But Terrence? He's the first A-lister to flat out say Diddy tried to make a move on him. And while that alone would have shaken the table, it gets even messier. 50 Cent is still going full throttle with his Diddy doc plans. He's been teasing this expose for weeks, dropping hints and receipts like clockwork. And when someone asked him why he's the only one with the guts to speak up, his response? Brutal and straight to the point. I never went to any of them. Now Tyrese is stepping into the chaos too. He just posted a clip from Terrence's interview to his Instagram, but kept it vague. Real vague. He wrote, "No comment. I'm staying positive. God help us all." That alone had people side-eyeing the situation. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's version of staying positive, flipping all this wild Diddy drama into what might just be a record-breaking Netflix doc. And if it drops with everything they're hinting at, it could shake the industry from top to bottom. Yep, 50 Cent is getting ready to put the whole story on blast with a no-holds-barred docuseries that's set to uncover every wild accusation swirling around Diddy. But in classic 50 style, he's doing it petty, and it's brilliant.
Do it, right?
Yeah.
He did it. You've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now, and then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
but I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what's going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that 50 shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
Word is, 50 already reached out to Terrence Howard, asking if he'd be down to join the doc and open up even more about how Diddy allegedly tried to drag him into one of those infamous FO setups. The timing? Savage. The goal? Loud and clear. 50's not just out to expose Diddy. He wants to bring in everyone who's seen behind the curtain. And honestly, it tracks. 50 and Terrence got history. Back when Terrence was calling out the industry for scamming him out of millions and getting blacklisted, 50 had his back. He stood with him then, and he's still standing with him now. But what Terrence is talking about these days goes even deeper than just the money. He's been calling out what he sees as a bigger agenda in Hollywood, one aimed at stripping masculinity from black men in the industry. He says he was branded as difficult, simply because he refused to take on roles that didn't line up with his values.
hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. You know, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be...
Terrence made it clear. He wasn't about to wear a dress or play characters that, in his words, were designed to soften and diminish how men are portrayed. He stood firm, and now, with 50 by his side, he might finally get a platform big enough to tell the whole story. And if they go through with it, this doc could hit way harder than anyone expects. Terrence Howard didn't sugarcoat a single word. He straight up said he's been demonized. According to him, there's a new game being played in the industry, one that's all about stripping men, especially black men, of their strength, confidence, and power. He lit up the double standards in Hollywood, and he made it loud and clear. White actors get to be bold, powerful, and unshaken. But when a black man brings that same energy, suddenly it's called aggressive, dangerous, too much. Terrence didn't tiptoe around it. He exposed the bias for what it is. And when Taraji P. Henson recently spoke out about being underpaid as a black woman in Hollywood, Terrence didn't act surprised, not even a little. He said this kind of exploitation, it's been happening forever. Then he dropped a jaw-dropping truth bomb about the movie that launched him into stardom, Hustle and Flow. That 2005 hit, backed by Paramount, made over $75 million at the box office. But guess how much Terrence got for playing the lead? A flat $12,000. That's right, 12 grand. And it doesn't stop there. He also revealed he never saw a dime in royalties for the music he performed in the film. None. Zero.
That's always been my whole thing, and I've lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay role. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
After carrying that role and delivering hit songs, he got ghosted on everything. Now he says he's seriously considering suing Paramount to finally get the money he's been owed for 2 whole decades. And just when people were still processing that, he dropped another shocker. For his role in Crash, a film that took home the Oscar for Best Picture, he got paid just $6,000. $6,000 for one of the most critically praised roles of the year. This isn't just about back pay, it's about exposing the whole system that's been cashing in on talent while cutting corners on fairness. And Terrence is done staying quiet. When 50 Cent saw everything Terrence was exposing, he didn't just watch from the sidelines, he snapped. He jumped in quick and offered both Terrence and Taraji a spot under his G-Unit Films and Television banner, promising to finally pay them what Hollywood never did.
Oh, check this out. I made $12,000 for doing Hustle and Flow. And then on top of it, what Paramount did, instead of putting my name as Terrence Howard performing the songs, they put performed by DJ. Well, they own DJ. So guess what? The performance royalties went to Paramount. They went,
Wait a minute. They didn't go to Terrence Howard. They went to
$12,000. That's all I ever made from Hustle and
50 posted a clip of Terrence talking about that disgraceful $12,000 paycheck from Hustle and Flow. And his caption said it all. This ish hurt my stomach to hear. Terrence say this, F them. And he wasn't just venting, he was ready to move. I need the best actors and I'm going to pay them, he wrote. Then he shouted out Taraji too, saying, Taraji, you cool with Mary J. Blige? Ask her. She got a big effing bag. He made it clear. This isn't just talk, it's action. And just like that, 50 doubled down on his offer, telling Terrence straight up, call my phone. No filters, no fluff, just raw business energy. He's promising to personally make sure Terrence gets what he's owed. No games, no studio politics, no shady backroom deals. Just that G-Unit way of handling things. Fast, loud, and direct.
50 Cent is unmatched. He is unmatched. His pettiness goes beyond anybody that has ever been petty in the hemisphere of pettyism in this damn universe. Child, 50 Cent made a bidding war off of Diddy Do It. Diddy Do It was bought by Netflix, baby. So this docuseries will be out about everything that has happened since Cassie has filed this lawsuit against Diddy. Leave 50 Cent out of everything because this man's pettiness is beyond compare.
Now that Terrence has officially come out swinging against Diddy, 50's longtime nemesis, it's the perfect storm. Fans are hyped seeing heavyweights like 50, Terrence, Cat Williams, and a few other bold voices finally coming together and refusing to stay quiet about what's really been going on. But here's the real mic drop. Terrence didn't hold back. He said straight up, a lot of men in the game lost their man card by letting Diddy play them. And you know folks are already whispering names behind the scenes. Word is, 50's all in on making sure this documentary doesn't hold back. No filters, no edits, just truth, served raw. Every name is getting dragged into the spotlight, and one that keeps getting louder? Jay-Z. Even though Jay's now out here acting like he barely knew Diddy, the receipts say otherwise. Back before everything blew up, Diddy was calling Jay his family. Said Jay wasn't just close, he was his strategist, the first one he'd call when things got messy. And let's not forget that wild moment Diddy bragged about. Jay allegedly skipped Blue Ivy's recital just to hop on stage for the Bad Boy 20th anniversary show. Yeah, you read that right. Missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment with his daughter just to back Diddy. That's not casual. That's next-level loyalty. But now Jay's trying to flip the script, acting like they weren't even tight? Nah, the timeline ain't adding up. Remember Diddy's 2023 carpool karaoke with James Corden? He said only two people can call him by his real government name, his mom and Jay-Z. That ain't something you say about just anybody. They were clearly way closer than Jay wants to admit now. And here's where things get even messier. Just months before Cassie dropped that bombshell lawsuit in November 2023, Diddy was still getting love all over the place. He even snagged a BET Lifetime Achievement Award. And guess who recorded a glowing tribute for him? Jay-Z, front and center, talking about their come-up, how they rolled together, how deep it ran. Jay said, "I start pop, pop out, and I was going everywhere with Diddy." That's not distant. That's ride or die talk. Now here's the real curveball. A video surfaced showing Jay shirtless and all oiled up, just standing there in Diddy's house while Diddy sings happy birthday to him. No context, no explanation, just vibes, and a lot of questions. No joke, that clip is really out there, and people are giving it some serious side-eye. But it doesn't stop there. There's also that viral pic of Diddy and French Montana looking real cozy, practically spooning at a Miami party. And of course, 50 Cent wasted zero time. He reposted the photo on Instagram with a caption that had people crying from laughter. "What in the world is going on in this picture?" He added, "Man, something's not right. Ha 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 ha." That was just one messy chapter in this whole saga, though. Because now, there's more heat coming from Tyrese's upcoming documentary. And another name getting dragged in is none other than The Game. Yep, The Game might have his own tea to spill. In a 2022 Drink Champs interview, he revealed that Diddy once approached him to make an album. But instead of heading to the studio, things went left. They spent 2 years jet-setting around the world with Diddy hooking him up with luxury gifts, wild parties, and first-class everything. Not one track got recorded. And just recently, when The Game sat down with Vlad TV after the Diddy headlines exploded, he confirmed it, said they never made a single song. It was just 2 straight years of partying, mostly down in Atlanta. What was all that about? People have questions. But that's still not all. More names keep getting pulled into this swirling mess, and one of them, Diddy's longtime friend and producer Stevie J. According to Lil Rod's explosive lawsuit, Stevie wasn't just around, he was involved. The lawsuit even claims Diddy bragged about hooking up with him. At this point, it's clear. What we've seen is just the surface, and what's still hiding underneath might be way more twisted than anyone imagined. When 50 Cent came for Stevie J over defending Diddy, Stevie clapped back hard, but fans weren't buying it. The way he responded? Way too defensive. Now everybody's watching 50's upcoming doc like it's the calm before the storm, because the names being mentioned, they just keep getting bigger. And let's not skip over Machine Gun Kelly. MGK was once signed to Bad Boy and used to party heavy with Diddy back in the day. He's even admitted to witnessing some straight-up wild behavior, but he's never dropped the full story. Not yet, at least. Then we got DJ Khaled and Rick Ross thrown into the chaos. Both were name-dropped by Diddy's former employee, Jonathan E. Oy, during a police investigation. And what Jonathan said? It's next-level insane. He claimed he was hired by Diddy specifically to run those infamous FO sessions, but it didn't stop there. According to Jonathan, things went south after he allegedly caught an STD while working those events. When he tried to speak up about it, he claims Diddy sent Rick Ross to silence him. Yeah, you heard that right. Jonathan didn't hold back. He said Diddy, Rick Ross, and DJ Khaled were all deep in that wild party scene, living double lives behind the fame. Whether it's all fact or not is still up in the air. But one thing's for sure, these accusations are no joke. Terrence Howard put it plain. There's a long list of industry men who might have lost their man card getting wrapped up in Diddy's twisted events. And the scariest part? We're probably still at the surface of it all. So if you've seen a celeb living it up in old Diddy party pics and now they're suddenly acting like they barely knew him, go ahead and throw that side eye. Something ain't adding up. Now all eyes are on 50 Cent's explosive upcoming docuseries. That Diddy Do It? Documentary could flip Hollywood upside down if even half of this stuff makes it in. But until that documentary drops, let's talk. What do you think about Terrence Howard's claims? Do you believe Diddy really tried to come for him? And who else do you think might get exposed next? The way names are flying around, it feels like anybody could be next in line. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. We want to hear everything. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to see what's really going on out here. Turn on those notifications too, because trust, more tea is coming, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.